Right, you're still watching news today. Now, a team from the IMF is scheduled to begin the anticipated bailout talks with government of Ghana on Tuesday following the oversubscription of Ghana's third Eurobond auction and the Cocoa Board syndicated loan, which brings a combined value of almost $3 billion into the economy. Or should be the portion of Ghana going into the stocks. Kesley Hayford is a financial analyst. He's joined me over the telephone. Kesley, you're welcome to the program. I think we've lost Kesley there. Would raise Kesley over the phone in a bit, and then we'll have that conversation. In the meantime, the Christian Council of Ghana has said Ghanaians are losing gradually confidence in the government and President John Dramani Mahama. It was contained in a communique issued after a meeting with the heads of churches, organizations, and executive committee members. The statement says the current economic situation in the country is worsening the livelihoods of our people and has become unbearable. It further states that government's assurances and efforts at improving the economy and the livelihoods of Ghanaians must be backed with real evidence in the lives of the people. Reverend Opuni Frimpong is General Secretary for the Council. He's here with me in the studio. You're welcome to the program, Reverend.
Welcome.
How are you?
I'm good, just by God's grace.
Absolutely. Let's talk about your statement. We'll start off with the fact that Ghanaians are losing confidence in the economy and in President John Dramani Mahama. How do you know that?
Yes, let me say that just last week, Tuesday, September 9th, the leadership of the Christian Council of Ghana met, and the communique emerged from their meeting. Normally, they will reflect on their own ministries, what they are doing in the church front, and also national issues. And among other issues is what you have just raised, the issue about public confidence. Now, if you ask, how do you know? You see, the churches that form the Christian Council of Ghana are spread every corner in this country. I mean, we are talking about churches like Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Methodist Church, Anglican, Baptist, Salvation Army, Evangelical Presbyterian Church, and many more. And any corner of this country, you find a member church there. So we are reflecting the views of our members and our pastors in the communities. Now, I want to say that apart from what we have heard, and the leaders also go around the country, we drive on the same roads everybody is using. Another worrying phenomenon emerging is when it comes to labor agitations. The recent period, you find that even the Minister of Trade will say, organized labor, I'm ready to sit down with you, even if we have to go through the whole night. And the people will say, we've heard you, but we'll still go on with the strike. POTAC, the same thing. Sometimes even the president wants to intervene in some of these things, and the people said, till we see evidence, we'll go ahead. Now, it's becoming a common phenomenon. Now, if you have leadership, and leadership inspire the people, whatever information, instruction, and the people tell you, we have heard you, but we'll still go ahead. It's very worrying. And that is what we are commenting, that we need to respond to that phenomenon emerging in our country so that we'll have stronger public confidence in our leaders and institutional structures.
And you have suggested that in order for us to eradicate that bid for people to just listen to government and not do what it says, we should back promises with or assurances with real action. But how does the government do that when it doesn't have the ability to? We're just getting our third Eurobond proceeds we should expect later on. How do we do that when we don't have the ability to?
No, it's too strong a word to say we don't have the ability to. At least you put leadership there. Leadership is to do the right things. We may not be able to solve all our problems today, but for instance, if we have statutory payment, you collect VAT and some other taxes from petroleum products. And if certain percentages of such taxes should go to National Health Insurance, should go to Ghana Education Trust and other sectors, and they don't go, to the point that some hospitals, mission hospitals, some private hospitals will come out to say, we will not honor our obligation when people present National Health Insurance. There are other things we may not be able to do. Statutory payment and things like that should be done. I mean, if we pay tolls Kumasi to Accra, or Accra to Kumasi, the number of tolls. And if we take this money to construct road, and we go through the same Suhum Sawemu area again and again and again, somebody must show us some, build confidence that it's not just what we are hearing, but there are real structures to transform something.
And I know that's not all you mentioned in your communique. We'll talk about the rest, but I want us to listen to a reaction from National Nasara Coordinator for the NPP, Kamal Dean, and Adekuka, Greater Accra Chair for the National Democratic Congress. Let's listen to their reaction to the Council's communique.
Upon what survey? Upon what statistics? Are we in a country where
your packet is a survey? Check your packet.
Are we in a country where when we wake up in the morning, we see people starving, people dying on the streets? How can our pastors make that kind of statement? Hey. Seriously, how can they make that kind of statement? Right? This country, are people starving? Are people dying on the streets? This country is facing challenges, and nobody is saying that there are no challenges. And in the church, I'm told that if there are challenges, what you do is that you pray seriously, you pray and to ensure that you get deliverance. But you don't go and make this kind of statement, right? And they don't tell us by what sample that they conducted to fight. Is it that because probably the tithes are not being paid or what? The president sleeping? No, the man is working. Recently, he's going to commend that. Let us be realistic. We need to put certain things in place which we should have done years ago. Our problem now is not that there's lack of confidence in this government. This government is taking the necessary steps. And I'm by the end of this year, God willing,
well, there's going
to be a game changer. And they can continue to wallow in that belief that they should wallow in that belief. But I am very positive that this country is making strides. This country is making progress.
You see, when you are a clergy, your duty is to pray for people. Your duty is to pray for the nation. Your duty is to listen to the one who has to be sensitive to the plight of many. I think their call is not misplaced at all. You see, the point is that haven't we had in this country as a fact that the whole labor force, organized labor, going on strike one day and laying down their tools and say, look, we are registering our displeasure towards the way the government the economy is managed? Haven't we had it? It's a fact. Haven't we had a particular group of organized labor protest going on strike for 4 good months?
Because of book allowance.
Wait a minute. Haven't we had UTAC who have the destiny of our school children in
and all these have been cited by the Christian?
Absolutely. So if we have seen these things, and now today Christian Council who are sensitive to the plight of many, unlike the government who is not sensitive to the plight of us, come out to tell us that look, people are not happy with the way government is going. It's just but a clear and very harmless call that you sit up. You don't sit here and say our pastors just talk like that. When the next moment you are the same person who will go and tell them pray for me. The guy has seen the problem with you. You are handling it. He says, Ade, this is what you should do. And you say, look, don't talk like that. Meanwhile, you go there and say, pray for me.
Let's get a quick response from the council. Reverend Kwabena Upuni from Points, General Secretary for the Christian Council of Ghana. Reverend, what's your response to some of the things you heard?
We will leave the politicians to do what they do best. So I wouldn't want directly, I listened to them this morning. But the fact is, our leaders from all the various sides should know that the members in our churches and even those in leadership, some will vote for, some, I've heard some of national heads of churches publicly, they shouldn't do that, saying that I voted for President Mahama and NDC. I want him to succeed. You know, so this is how they must get when we come in. We have not said we have lost hope in him. That's not what we have said. That said, we are just re-echoing the sentiment that we get from our people, and we must address it, and we are prepared to help That is what we are saying. Some of our people belong to NDC and they are very committed and they want the NDC party to succeed. Some belong to MPP, CPP. You have almost every party in this country belonging to a constituency.
Should all the council do be praying for the nation? Should you just sit back and just pray?
We can't do that. You see, the human being is not only a spiritual being, so that if you do spiritual things, you finish with me. The human being is intellectual being. There's a health side of human being. That's why the churches are into education, into health. And if the church in this country want to be a relevant church, it must respond to every facet of our life, including governance, including the economy, including what happens on our roads and our market. The churches must show interest. And I dare say that the church in this country, even we are too quiet, the church must be relevant. We must journey with the people. We should not keep quiet when people are crying within. And we only wait for them to come to church on Sunday to say, we are praying for you. We must go to the market with them. We must be, when they are in the field, we must know what they are going through. That is how a relevant, a holistic church functions. You know, but of course, if the politicians want us to only be praying for them, we will do that. But that is not what we are supposed to do. So we will go beyond what they want us to do, and we'll do what we know we should do.
I see. But that isn't all you spoke about in your communique. You spoke about a number of issues, Ebola, you spoke about mining in the country. Take us through some of your concerns in those areas as well.
Yes, especially responsible mining. You see, we can't do away with mining. Our spectacles, mobile phone, computers, these are all products from mining, you know. But mining can be done responsibly. You see, if you go to some of our mining communities, how sometimes health hazards, cyanide and other things are finding their way into water bodies and into food crops. And these things affect human life. You know, some of the royalties and taxes government collect from mining industry, you go to the mining community and you don't see the impact. You know, people have given their lands and all that, and they expect to see some benefit. And you talk to traditional leaders and community leaders, and royalties have not been given to them. And some of them are angry, and they direct their anger towards the mining company instead of directing the anger towards our government. That, you know, you collect royalties and all that. You don't develop the communities. We are also talking about, of course, winner take all. Which also bring a lot of unnecessary, I must say, tension during election. And something must be done. We are aware of the constitutional review process. We are pleading that we move slowly and listen to other bodies like IEA and IDEC and Christian Council and others, you know, and do things that may limit the tension that we go through during elections. Of course, we're also asking government and commending government about the 200 schools. It's a wonderful idea, but churches and Muslims here and traditional leaders have been together in providing education, and we are only asking that can you get us involved? Schools like Prempeh College, Menchia, Methodist Presby government came together to build a school like Prempeh College. So it's possible for government to get
work with you.
exactly, and we are only pleading if somebody will want to hear us and get us involved, we are ready to help.
Rev, we'll leave it here for now. Thank you very much,
No,
Reverend.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Reverend Doctor. Absolutely, Reverend Dr. Opuni Frimpong is General Secretary for the Christian Council of Ghana.